It's time to restore one of the most precious of biblical stories. In this song, we sing, "We three kings of Orient are." But were they three? Were they even kings? And what does it even mean they came from the Orient? This time of year, you will read commentary after commentary on this, and we will show you practically all of them are wrong. How can we be so confident? Because they leave Scripture and go off into conjecture land inappropriately. And all they had to do was search the Scriptures. For David prophesied of this coming moment, and he leaves absolutely nothing to chance, but tells us exactly where the wise men came from. He tells us whether they are kings, and most scholars seem oblivious. And he tells us specifically and exactly from where they originated. And it does not lead to occult Satanists called Chaldean Magi magicians, nor occult Babylon the Great. And oh yes, they most certainly were titled kings. You'll see. See, that pretty much flies against all such commentaries this time of year already. Now, let's prove it. Welcome to 100 Clues. The Philippines is the ancient land of gold known as Ophir in the Bible and history. No, it's no fable. And this has already been proven in full in the God Culture Solomon's Gold series. At the request of many viewers, we have pulled out 100 compelling clues, really proofs, or evidences from this research, in which we will highlight briefs of the most compelling points, and yes, there are over 100. These videos are for those who have not had time to watch Solomon's Gold series. Great for small groups and even school, and easy to share to friends and family, especially skeptics, whom we welcome. This brief video cannot replace that 50 video series, nor prove the way that it does, but this will be very effective nonetheless. So go there for full evidence. But now, part 39 of our series, 100 Clues, the Philippines is Ophir. One clue at a time. We all know the story. Or do we? The wise men. No, Matthew does not number them. That's correct. He doesn't specify where they came from. That's correct. But David does. And we've all missed this all these years, or at least in the past 100 years, when these things began to be redefined by the new Dark Ages, obscuring the most significant land of all time. A star appears in the east sky as a sign to the righteous priests who are looking for the coming Messiah. You will hear these are astrologers, but that is unbiblical and not even in the definition of Magi, which are simply Oriental astronomers, not astrologers. Big difference. Astrology is a religion. This is a doctrine never found in all of Scripture, in fact. How do we know this? Well, David tells us, but watch Solomon's Gold series, part 13a, and we break down astrology completely in that. And part 11 is where we deal with the three kings, in fact, in full detail. So this will be a brief of that. These Oriental astronomers saw the star in the east sky because they were from the east. See, when it says it appears in the east sky, it means they were in the east and it appeared in their sky. It's simple. Don't worry, that proves out very specifically. It took them 2 years to make it to the Son of God, where they came with offerings. The same offerings that the Queen of Sheba brought from the same land in the days of the temple. The same offering Adam sacrificed from atonement in that same land as well, ancient Havilah. All these things tie so clearly when one tests them completely as we have. Again, watch part 11 of Solomon's Gold series for the full case. This is a brief. In the 1850s, John Henry Hopkins Jr. wrote a song, and we still hear all the time this time of year. We three kings of Orient are. Scholars attack and attempt to pick this apart, not even knowing that Scripture does not even agree with them, but is actually much closer to his concept from the song. What did he know in the 1850s that we lost? Oh, you'll see. They've missed David's prophecy all along. Hopkins wrote another song, and we can get a sense that he knew exactly where these kings came from. But they'll write their commentaries, and they'll go on and on about all of these things that they do not understand because they haven't found this scripture somehow. Nothing really, because they have not researched the topic out completely, which one would need to do. You'll see. We'll cover it now. Here's the other song written by Hopkins. When from the east the wise men came. And listen to this. Led by the star of Bethlehem, the gifts they brought to Jesus were of gold and frankincense and myrrh. We're talking about the wise men, the wise kings. Those are his three kings. Where did they come from? Did he mean Babylon when he said Orient in the other song? Absolutely and indisputably not. Read on. Bright gold of Ophir, passing fine, proclaims a king of royal line. Wow. You have seen in this series how precious the fine gold of Ophir is, not to man but to Yahuwah. He is the one who values it because it was used in Adam's first sacrifice. It mattered so much. The Queen of Sheba and Solomon's navy bring the same exact gifts to the temple project to be placed next to his presence because it mattered to him. Second Esdras even tells us this gold of Ophir will be the very gold used to pave the streets of New Jerusalem. This is a resource that matters to Yahuwah, period, from the beginning all the way to eternity, as does this land. But we do not have to just take some scholar's word for it, or some guy who wrote a couple of songs. No, let's see what Scripture says. In Psalm 72, David, the father of King Solomon, prophesies of his coming son. Of Solomon? No, of Messiah. Now, the Catholic Bible moves to place a veil on this in understanding, so we can see where this likely originated in false interpretation. By placing in parentheses in their Bible before this passage of Solomon. That's blatantly false. See, David's coming son in this narrative can only be the Messiah himself. No one else can possibly fulfill this because this son shall save souls. Then it says, he shall redeem the souls. Solomon could not and did not do that, period. There is no debating this. Messiah did and does. Later, when David tells us prayer will be made for this son continually, that's Solomon? No, no one's been praying for Solomon for 3,000 years. This is Messiah, and daily he shall be praised. That's not Solomon. Ludicrous. Solomon's own kingdom was already dividing even in his own days because he was not always a good king. Also it says, all nations shall bow down before him. All nations shall serve him. Now Zionism tries to say that Solomon fits that. It never, ever fits Solomon. Solomon, according to Scripture, only ruled the kings of Arabia. They're the only ones that brought him tribute, period. And that is the Middle East. No one else. Never all, even known nations in his day. Only Messiah will receive that honor. And to give that to any other man is unbiblical. Now let's stick to the Bible, shall we? Now for the great revelation of this passage. And this is amazing. It's been right there in Scripture all these thousands of years, obscured by stupid scholarship, putting of Solomon before there, which is just grossly negligent, really. David starts off by identifying these kings. Yes, they are kings. Sorry, scholars. You can stop writing your articles now because you're wrong. They are kings, indeed. There is no arguing with David on that, because David is the expert, and this is his prophecy. And there is no one today who can overcome his prophecy. He says the kings of Tarshish, Philippines, and of the isles, Ophir, Philippines, shall bring presents. The kings of Sheba and Sheba, Philippines, shall offer gifts. Wow! Again, if you haven't seen this series or our Solomon's Gold series, where we locate these areas in the Philippines, don't attempt to debate yet. Don't even try. We prove it. We don't make claims. Review that first and see for yourself. So this tells us the three kings came from the Philippines. And yes, they were more than three. Three is not the accurate number. That's correct. In fact, this passage is identifying at least 6, maybe even 8, or even more kings. It doesn't say, but there's at least that many listed here, because kings is at least 2, and it says kings at least 3 times. But why 3? Where would that have come from in context? Well, even David is identifying the 3 ancient territories here in the Philippines: Ophir, Sheba, and Tarshish. 3. Sheba is part of Sheba, as it means territory of Sheba, as one of its definitions even. So actually, there is precedence for 3 main kings, 3 main territories. Though again, it is at least 6 kings in number. But maybe, just maybe, the writer of this song was not so crazy. It's no wonder the longest celebration of Messiah's birth on all of earth still takes place in the Philippines, in which they have this emblem they use of a giant star, the parol. Sure, it's the wrong time of year, and really the wrong holiday, and the wrong name, and really the wrong concept to match the Bible, but this appears to be an ancient precedence which has survived. See, the star appeared in the sky for 2 years, and it was no star, nor alignment of planets. That's ridiculous. That alignment that they claim from Stellarium software took place in about 20 minutes. 20 minutes, not 2 years. This was in the sky for 2 years, and it directed them. They followed this star for 2 years. It was an angel, as angels and stars are interchangeable in Scripture often, even in Revelation. When Yahushua talks about the 7 stars in his hand are the 7 churches or ecclesias. This star changed directions at least 3 different times during their journey, and then it stood over the head and stopped above Messiah. It led the wise kings to Bethlehem from the Philippines. This is why it took 2 years. It is honestly ludicrous to think that an angel would have appeared to the followers awaiting Messiah in Babylon, and they, being about a 3-week journey away from Bethlehem, took 2 years to get there. They weren't very motivated if that was the case. That is ridiculous. I mean, you see the sign of the Son of God on earth, in the sky, and you just sit and wait to go see him. Let's wait a year and 11 months and then make the 3-week journey. Really? No, thank you. How do we even fall for that kind of stuff? The Ophirians, who came once again with the precious resources from Ophir and Sheba and Tarshish that matter to Yahuwah, had a 2-year journey to get to Bethlehem, as the Red Sea port, that was normally a 1-year journey, was broken up. So they had to go all the way around Africa into the Mediterranean, just as Jonah's ship did in his day, which you would have to understand. To understand Jonah's passage actually shows him headed to the east, to Tarshish, not to the west. That was only the beginning of his journey. He was headed to the Philippines. Now, we prove that too. Scripture is really not so vague. So there you have it. The 3 kings were at least 6, but 3 stand out indeed, and an appropriate application even. Ophir, Sheba, and Tarshish, all now known to be the modern Philippines. And we now know David in Psalm 72 specifically identifies that land and nowhere else, and certainly not occult Babylon the Great, the home of the great harlot. No, thank you. This land had a connection to the Messiah before the Catholic Church even existed. Think about what this means. That's right. The Philippines has been since the beginning his, in relationship with him. This land was already in relationship with the Messiah. May we all restore the truth, and then we shall all be set free. Remember, this is a brief, as we will keep this under 20 minutes or so for this series. But for the full teaching on this topic, watch part 11 of Solomon's Gold series, where we fully break down even the passages from Matthew, Psalms, etc., and other pertinent ones too. As we keep saying and supporting over and over again, there is no debate. The Philippines is the land of gold in all of history. It is time this knowledge be restored, and we all know. For those about to comment in ignorance, yep, we always get them. We dare you to watch Solomon's Gold series by The God Culture, the original channel, to prove the Philippines is in fact Ophir and the Garden of Eden. Even here, we are breaking these into sound bites and clear points. But watch how all 100 clues tied together in this series will blow you away. Thank you for watching 100 Clues. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to click the bell and like us on our new Facebook, The God Culture Space Original. If you wish to skip ahead, go to the God Culture YouTube channel and watch our Solomon's Gold series in English or Tagalog. There will be a link on the next screen. We can know this truth and be confident this belongs to the Philippines, and no one can disprove it. Until next time.